Let's talk about optimism. Right when you see that word, you're having a reaction to it. Either you're thinking, oh, okay, here we go. Here's that soft stuff. I knew it was going to be soft. Or you're thinking like, okay, yeah, they're onto something. What is this optimism? I feel like I'm an optimistic person. So initially, just when you see the word, you're having a response to it. We want to talk about the science and how to train it for a very particular reason. We've come to understand that if you want to do difficult things in your life, if you want to get on the edge to explore your potential, that it's not going to be easy. It's not easy out there. It's pretty rugged, internally and sometimes externally. And to stay in the game long enough, whatever the game is for you, to stay in it long enough to be able to express your potential requires you to have a particular way of thinking about the future. So optimism and pessimism are both ways for you to think about the future. Optimism is a learned behavior, so is pessimism. And if you are thinking about this word right now and you're saying, man, I am not an optimist, that's for weak, naive people, that you likely are saying, I'm a realist. So what does that mean that optimists are? Like we live in la la land, we're not realists? But that's a protection mechanism that you have for embracing what you're really thinking about, the way that you think about the future, which is pessimism. So pessimism is the idea that the future's not going to be so bright. So I got to protect myself. Things don't work out. So I got to protect myself. Optimism is the exact opposite. And here's the definition we're working from. It's pretty simple. Optimism is the belief that something good is about to happen. So the idea that something good is about to take place allows you to stay in it. Even when the information that's coming in, it's not what you planned it to be. When you're struggling in some kind of way, you keep staying in it, you keep fighting, you keep letting go, you keep trusting because something good's about to take place. So if it's about to take place, I got to stay in it. So optimism, we can train it. If it's a learned behavior, we can train skills that increase and amplify our ability to believe that the future is going to be okay. If you're a pessimist or you know a pessimist, that's okay. It just means that the way you orientate yourself is that you're trying to protect yourself because you've got a fundamental belief that the future doesn't work out well. Your mom, your dad, your uncle, your coaches, your peers, they taught you that. Maybe you've developed it in some way because you've been hurt and experienced some sort of pain that you constricted your worldview of yourself and your possibilities. We want to encourage you to train optimism, and this is how we want to walk you through it. There's recent research on optimism and how it relates to performance. And out of the University of Pennsylvania, Martin Seligman has found some incredible findings. And there's lots of research that is going to support what we're about to tell you, but there's one particular study that we want to focus on. It was called 3 Good Things. So what took place is that they asked 4,000 people to just pay attention to what was good throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, just write it down. That's it. That was the entire ask of this research study. And what they found is people that came into the study that were depressed, their depression stabilized just after 7 days of doing this work. They also found that people that came in that were not depressed, there was an overall lift in mood. There was an overall lift in well-being and joy and happiness. There was life satisfaction markers that were saying, hey, there's something here. So then there was a follow-on study. And that follow-on study was to go out into the world, find 3 good things and write it down and share it with your partner. Pillow talk, if you will. And what they found from that study is that marital satisfaction, relationship satisfaction increased. That's really cool. So what we want to do is we want to mirror good science and we want to show you how to train optimism. So the way that we do this is we're going to challenge you to go out into the world and find 3 amazing things. That's it. Just go out into the world and research what's good. And then at the end of the day, just write them down. Okay? So here's what it looks like. You go out into the world, you notice something. It doesn't need to be grand. It can be really small, like somebody opened the door for you and you made eye contact. So later that night, you would write it down, someone held the door open for me, and then in brackets or parentheses, you would say connection, right? Or whatever makes that thing special for you. Okay, so it's that simple, but here's what's likely to take place for you. Is you're like, okay, I want to train optimism. I want some of these benefits that you're talking about. So you'll say, okay, now in the beginning of the day, I'm going to make my best intention to go train optimism. Then you go through the course of your day, You get to the end of the day, you'll look at your little journal or pad that you want to keep notes on, or in your computer, and you'll say, God, what were those 3 things? I know there must have been 3 things. Day 2, day 3, by the time 3rd day goes around, you'll begin to recognize 1 or 2 of them. Around the 3rd or 4th day, when you start your day, you'll be incredibly focused to go hunt, to go find, to go look for amazing things. So that when you're in it, you're like, this is amazing. And then it's just part of your day, so that when at the end of the night you come back, you don't need to try to remember it. It was part of your experience, and it will just flow. It's 1 statement and 1 parenthesis, and that's it. Okay, so let's make a commitment. Let's make a commitment about how you see the future, how you see your future, that something amazing is about to take place. And let's train our mind to be more optimistic so that we can explore the boundaries of our own potential.